Every year in northern Limpopo, Venda teenage girls attend the Vhusha initiation ceremony. This colorful, mysterious and highly secretive ritual signifies the most important stages in a girl's life.
The Vhusha initiation is for girls who are grown-ups, who are matured, who are menstruating, who have started to menstruate, and it's for them only. It's the first initiation.
But before Vhusha, the girls are sent to Musabeto. There they are taught a controversial practice, the elongating of the vaginal lips.
The stretching of labia minora is done from the age of 8 years, and this is done on a daily basis in the evening.
Against some accusations that this is a form of genital mutilation and a human rights abuse, some anthropologists defend this practice.
If this is genital mutilation, then so is male circumcision. I think we could make that comparison. What we often find when you have things like uqueva, labia majora being extended, is that the participants of that process want to do that.
However, the UN Population Fund condemns it. It sees it as a form of female genital mutilation, which is harmful to girls.
It's a form of female genital mutilation because where communities, where families or individuals have stretched the labia minora at a point that it becomes difficult for the woman to move around or to be socially fit.
Special Assignment was invited to the annual Vhusha initiation ceremony in Venda to get a first-hand account of this ancient ritual that is strictly taboo. In this episode we ask, how do we respect and negotiate cultural rights in a human rights-based society? Is the stretching of the vaginal lips of young girls a practice that should be outlawed or protected? We have been invited here to the Matsila Royal House to observe the Vhusha dance. It's the first phase in the initiation process of a young Venda girl's life.
Bilaro. Da. Magona chatenda unonga. Da.
I've been given a traditional Venda shirt, a symbolic gesture of acceptance. Chief Matsila gives me the name of Azwindini.
Yeah. How are you? What are you, sir? I'm good, thank you. The Venda name is Azwindini.
Wazindini. Azundini.
It does not troubles me. I don't have a problem.
Okay. He has invited me to the Matsila Royal House so that I can observe and document the initiation ceremony of young virgins.
But feel free. If you want to ask questions, ask anybody anytime. If you want to take pictures freely. There are no restrictions.
It's a rare privilege to be given an exclusive, intimate view of an ancient ritual that is held in secret. Chief Matsile wants to preserve Venda's traditional cultural practices.
We must all acknowledge that our culture and traditions are now under threat because of civilization and urbanization. So through efforts like we have, different cultural programs that we run, is to try to preserve that culture and promote it and make it fashionable or interesting for young people to be part of it.
Meanwhile, in the chief's kraal, the young men in the village gather to celebrate the Vhusha initiation ceremony. They dance to the beat of a drum, creating a cacophony of sound. The tribal elders are the custodians of this ritual and must ensure that everything goes according to plan.
During Vhusha, when the girl sees her first menses, she might go and tell the elder sister, who then goes to the mother, and the paternal aunt plays a very important role, because then she takes the matter up with the father. The father then takes the matter to the headman, and the headman will tell Nyamati. Nyamati is someone who organizes that.
In Venda, female initiation schools are operated by traditional leaders. In some ways, they are operated as a commercial venture, a business.
Female initiation schools in Venda are very closely related to structures of traditional leadership, which is quite different to male initiation schools, which are more closely related to a group called Washawi, and can also be run by individual groups of men on a slightly entrepreneurial basis.
Parents who do not send their young girls for initiation can be fined and even ostracized.
I am a parent to my daughter, and my daughter is grown up. She is supposed to go to initiation school, and I don't do that. I was supposed to pay some money, which is called a fine, to the chief, that my girl is not coming to her kraal to be initiated.
But before girls are sent for initiation, they attend a pre-initiation ceremony known as Musabeto. There they are taught a controversial practice, the stretching of the vaginal lips, in a process called ukweba.
It's taught before she goes to initiation school, at the age of 10 and upwards. Like I said, there is what we call museveto. We start by Zhikombana and then museveto, then Vhusha. So at this period of Zhikombana and museveto, that's where they practice those things.
They are taught how to stretch their labia?
Yes.
Okay, the cutting, when is the cutting done?
Well, the cutting, is done at the initiation school. But I won't say much on that because it's a little bit ritual.
According to anthropologist Dr. Fraser McNeill, who has documented the Vhusha initiation ceremony, in some instances, slight incisions may be made on the hood of the clitoris or thereabouts. This part of the Vhusha initiation ceremony is the most sacred and secret. Men are completely prohibited from any access to it. Yet Chief Matsila has allowed our camera to document this ceremony. He says it is in the best interest of the tribe.
Vhusha is a sacred function for our culture. We normally don't allow filming or photographs or strangers to be there. Even men are not allowed to witness that. It's the domain of women in particular. We allowed you because we want this part of our tradition and culture to be recorded for future generations. So we thought it's important that there's some material that is recorded.
The small village of Fondwe has special memories for Dr. Fraser McNeill, who has studied all aspects of the Venda culture and wrote a book about it. He now teaches anthropology at the University of Pretoria. McNeill says this ritual is about the old women reclaiming their power.
Ritual is always political. It's about power. Some people maintain power from this. Now, if you look at the ritual process of a Venda girl's initiation, you might think it's all about the girls that are going through that. But an anthropologist would look at it and say, well, actually this is about the ritual knowledge that the old women have. So elder women in this contemporary South African context might be reviving this as a way to gain some kind of power and to act meaningfully on the world that they might feel they've lost some kind of influence in. So these things are reviving for all sorts of different reasons, and it has quite significant consequences as well.
Here the older women assert their power over the young ones. Rhythm and song are an integral part of this ritual. What we are observing here is the Vhusha dance, the first phase in the initiation process of a young Venda girl's life. It's a rare glimpse into the Venda culture. It's alleged that during initiation, the girls are forced to perform tasks that could be seen as abusive because some of them are criticized for being too excessive.
That is how we identify ourselves as Venda people, and there could be maybe harsh treatments that are done during initiation. Maybe that could be something to reconsider, but the actual purpose of initiation schools to me is for morals, and also for people to know how they should interact with each other, respect, loyalty, patriotism, national building, and we really need those virtues in our society.
During initiation, the girls must be topless at all times. According to the Venda culture, this symbolizes purity.
They bare-breasted because they are still virgins. First one, they are still virgins. And secondly, they want to brag about their bodies, you see, because they are still innocent. They don't know anything.
But some have questioned, why should young girls be sexualized? Girls who have been sexually active are also allowed to attend, but they are humiliated for having lost their virginity.
The girls who are not virgins can still go to Vhusha, but there will be a sign or a symbol to show that these girls are no longer virgins. They won't get ululations from the elderly people than the girls who are still virgins. The girls who are still virgins, there will be a lot of ululation from the parents, from the grannies, from the elderly people.
Like elsewhere in some communities, virginity tests are conducted randomly and on a regular basis. This is often done by old women in the tribe.
A virginity test is not an initiation school. It's a process. It must be conducted from the early childhood until the girl get married.
The United Nations Population Fund says virginity testing is a human rights violation and could lead to HIV contamination.
If we link it to the situation or the context of HIV, we know that we have some issues around the virginity testing because, as you know, it is done by one person and using one instrument on hundreds of girls. So for us in UNFPA, it is part of the harmful practices, and it is part of and it is putting girls at risk.
Initiates are also taught alternative but controversial methods of birth control, reproductive health, and sexual abstinence.
The girls are taught to masturbate as a way of spacing their children, and it also assists maybe in preventing HIV and AIDS, because then one would not have multiple partners.
While we were in Venda, we came across a number of traditional practices which locals consider to be part of their survival. To get a better understanding of this culture, we traveled to Makonde village to meet Raxon Sikale, a traditional healer, to learn more about another controversial practice, the Matu ritual ceremony. It involves the cutting of the vaginal flesh from the mother after childbirth to treat a disease called goni.
After a child is born, you can see the spot here. If the child is having a spot here, which means the mother has got goni. So these people send that person, that lady, to the specialist for cutting, and after cutting they bend those things, and then they smear that medicine. That is a curing.
The cutting is done by a traditional healer.
Yes, traditional healer.
How does it happen? Is it done with a razor?
It's by a razor.
And pain?
There's a little bit pain, but she must not afraid of that, so that the child can be alive.
They believe that Goni cannot be treated with Western medicine. Women who have undergone the procedure say they bleed excessively after the ceremony.
Some days she feels pain, but after that she should become all right.
Does it bleed a lot?
Not a lot. There is a medicine that after cutting those things, they smear medicine there to prevent the oozing of blood.
There is a mutilation there, but it is not the clitoris or the labias that are mutilated. But in any case, it's an harmful practice, and it is against the woman's rights, and it has certainly health consequences.
But according to the Department of Women in the Presidency, if a practice involves the cutting of the vaginal flesh, it is seen as female genital mutilation. From an early age, Venda girls are taught how to stretch the labia minora. It involves the pulling of the vaginal lips. In some instances, weights are also used. But this practice is not accepted by everyone. Some fear victimization if they speak out.
I think it was an abuse because even if you had something to say or something to say, no, I can't, it's painful, because it is painful when you're still young. So if you tell them, I cannot do it, it's painful, so when I wake up in the morning, they'll still insist you do it, or else. So I was embarrassed. That's when I started stopping doing that. I was so embarrassed, very embarrassed, very embarrassed. So when you remove your underwear, people will see things lingering, and then they start to think, wow. And then, how old are you? And you mention your years, and they'll be like, wow. It's many people, they think maybe you sleep around a lot. That's why you have those things lingering, you know. And then yet you tell them, okay, no, guys, I was told to do this, do that. And then they don't understand. They don't understand why.
Labia stretching is for the enhancement of sexual pleasure for men. But should women go through such pain and humiliation?
The reason for labia minora extension is primarily to provide pleasure to the men and nothing else, according to my knowledge.
And who teaches them how to do it?
The elder girls in the community, because we share information. Information is disseminated from one generation to another. So the elder girls would be responsible for teaching younger ones.
Early recordings of the results of this practice were seen amongst the Khoisan. It is also practiced by other cultures in sub-Saharan Africa.
When I grew up in the royal family. I attended all those things. Even the stretching of the I did it. So usually it all depends whether you like them to be like pennies, I can say. Because there are those who have got so stretched. So we have to believe that there are some cultures who must stretch up to here. But the Ravenda, we are only allowed to stretch them to a certain, maybe 3 centimeters or 2.
However, the UN Population Fund sees this as a form of female genital mutilation.
It's a form of female genital mutilation because though it's different, but we call it harmful practice because it do harm for the woman body, because we have in some instances where communities, where families or individuals have stretched the labia minora at a point that it becomes difficult for the woman to move around or to be socially fit.
But Gladys Tengwe, a Venda language and cultural advisor, disagrees.
Those who are saying it's genital mutilation, they don't know their culture, and personally, I believe that girls must go through that. Because that's why there are so many divorces around. Because they can see that, no, this one, I know.
After rituals have been performed by a local traditional healer, the girls are brought here to this two-door hut. Cow dung is then rubbed on their bodies. The following day, they are taken down to the river, where the cow dung is washed off. 2 small cuts are then made to the side of their thighs, which indicates that they have now completed the initiation process. Despite objections of this practice being a form of genital mutilation, or at the very least a human rights abuse, Chief Matsile disagrees.
No, there's no physical cutting of the girls. There's no such thing as it's all about manners and behavior and understanding your body as a woman.
While the Constitution allows communities to exercise their cultural rights and traditions, it also guarantees the dignity, equality, and well-being of all its citizens.
To me, it's not a violation, because if a girl goes there, if she has given consent, then the right of informed consent is not violated. It's true that there are treatments that are done in during the initiation ritual, but that is acceptable. It's within the acceptable norms of the Venda culture.
The World Health Organization has removed labia elongation from its definition of FGM. However, it still considers it as a social convention, which is seen as a form of female genital mutilation. This is because there is pressure on young girls to modify their genitalia, and it creates permanent genital changes.
If the woman did not undergo FGM or the pulling of the labia minora, it's like she's not a woman. And nobody in that community would like to marry her. And this is why those practices are very much embedded in those communities. And the women are the one that are very much putting pressure in other women to go to the practice.
But for Esther, the belief that labia stretching would make her a woman and she would be married one day has only brought her pain.
To me, I don't understand, because even now I'm 25, but I don't have any husband or steady boyfriend. So it means it was all a lie all this time. Maybe they do believe in that, but I still don't believe in it, because I never benefited anything from it. Even though and then some guys don't understand, why do you have this? And then I'll have to explain, okay, it's because we believe in this and we practice such and such. Though we won't go into details, but they won't understand.
Throughout our travels in Venda, we could not find girls who had admitted to having their genitalia cut. But our investigation found that girls who did not attend the annual Vhusha initiation are often ostracized by their communities and are called shivuru, half women. Is it compulsory?
For the Venda? Yes, it's a compulsory Venda.
And ladies that don't go there, how are they seen in the community?
They're not accepted by the community.
So they're ostracized?
Yes.
And the community being very small, they will know who these people are. The Department of Women says available research shows that female genital mutilation is not practiced in South Africa, but they will verify if this practice violates the rights of women and children. But in Venda culture, Vhusha is a necessary rite of passage, a transition to womanhood. The initiation process is secretive. They take an oath not to share with outsiders.